Today we will be discussing the tragic death of Laura Vanessa Nunes, a Portuguese woman whose life was cut short in 2014. What makes this case particularly disturbing is not just the manner of her death, but the alleged cover-up by those in power to protect their own interests. Laura's story highlights the ongoing struggle for justice and accountability in the Middle East, a region where corruption and impunity are all too common. Laura Vanessa Nunes was born on July 1, 1976 in South Africa. She spent her childhood growing up in both South Africa and Portugal, which allowed her to develop a unique perspective on life from an early age. From a young age, Laura was a curious and inquisitive child who was always interested in exploring and learning about the world around her. She was particularly drawn to the beauty industry and was fascinated by the transformative power of makeup, skincare, and massage. After completing her education, Laura pursued her passion for beauty therapy and became a qualified beauty therapist and masseuse. She quickly established herself as a respected professional in the industry, thanks to her skill, knowledge, and warm personality. Despite her busy career, Laura always made time for her family, and she was especially close to her mother, Leona, with whom she shared a deep bond. In 2007, Laura Vanessa Nunes made the bold decision to leave her home in South Africa and move to Dubai on a tourist visa in search of work. Despite the challenges of starting a new life in a foreign country, Laura was determined to make a success of herself and find the stability she had been seeking. Laura's journey in Dubai began with a series of temporary jobs in the hospitality and beauty industries. She worked long hours, often starting early in the morning and finishing late at night. Despite the hard work and long hours, Laura remained upbeat and determined to succeed. As time went on, however, Laura began to feel discouraged. Despite her best efforts, she was unable to find a stable job that would provide her with the financial security she needed. She was starting to worry that her dream of building a new life in Dubai was slipping away. But in 2011, everything changed. Laura met a rich Emirati businessman. The two struck up a conversation and quickly hit it off. Laura was charmed by the man's intelligence, wit, and sophistication, and before long, they were spending all their free time together. The relationship quickly became serious. There is a good reason why I am not naming this businessman, which we will find out later in the video. Tragically, Laura's story in Dubai did not have a happy ending. Despite the excitement and luxury of her relationship with the rich Emirati businessman, it became clear over time that their love was not meant to be. The couple had grown apart. Laura was devastated by the breakup. She had built her life and future around this relationship, and the sudden loss left her feeling lost and alone. She struggled to find purpose and meaning in her life without the man she had loved so deeply. In November 2014, Laura made a fateful decision. She visited the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world and a symbol of Dubai's opulence and grandeur. As she stood on the observation deck on the 148th floor, she made the decision to end her life by jumping from the building. She was 39 at the time. Normally, the death of a woman at the world's tallest building would be major news, but there is a reason why you may not have heard of this before. The government of Dubai covered up all the news surrounding Laura's death. Governments in the Middle East have long been known for their tight control over information and the media. From Iran to Saudi Arabia, countries in the region have implemented a variety of measures to monitor and regulate the flow of information within their borders. One of the primary ways that governments in the Middle East control information is through strict censorship laws. These laws allow the government to regulate what can and cannot be published or broadcast and give them the power to shut down media outlets that violate these regulations. In many cases, governments have even gone so far as to block access to certain websites and social media platforms that they deem to be a threat to their authority. Emaar, the construction company behind the Burj Khalifa, hate the idea of any negative news being published about their biggest project. They used their influence to take down all the articles published about Laura's death by Emirati news outlets. In fact, while researching this video, The first article I found was a Daily Mail article published in May 2015, 6 months after Laura's death. Links to all the articles I used for research are in the description. I should mention that none of them have the name of the businessman with whom Laura had been in a relationship due to legal threats used by him against the outlets reporting the story. In 2015, Leona Sykes, Laura's mother, made the journey from South Africa to Dubai in search of answers regarding her daughter's tragic death. She found it hard to believe that her daughter was able to leap from a tourist attraction that boasted modern safety features. Despite the disturbing nature of the footage, she convinced Dubai police to show her the CCTV recording from the observation deck. According to Ms. Sykes, the video shows Laura walking towards the viewing platform's glass security panels and putting her head through a small gap meant for tourists to take pictures. She then rushes to the back of the observation deck, appearing to be scared. "She was a panicky and terrified young woman," said a heartbroken Ms. Sykes. "She walked back to the pane of glass, turned around and looked up, perhaps to gain strength or offer a prayer. Then she put her head out, tilted her body, and slipped through. And nobody noticed." After falling 1,640 feet, Laura's body was found on the terrace of the Emaar restaurant, which is on the 3rd floor of the Armani Hotel. Laura's death took place on a Sunday afternoon, when the Emaar restaurant would typically be packed with guests. Despite this and the Burj Khalifa being one of the most popular tourist attractions in the world, Laura's death was covered up by the government and the police. The Emaar group has quietly improved the safety barriers at the Burj Khalifa. Photos of the observation deck taken before and after the tragic incident appear to show that a safety rail has been put in place since Laura's death. WhatsApp messages suggest that Laura became increasingly distraught over her relationship with the businessman she met in 2011. 2 nights before her death, Laura was supposed to meet the man, according to her mother, Leona. A BlackBerry phone found on Laura's body was returned to her mother without its SIM card or memory card, which would have contained any messages she sent while on the viewing platform of the Burj Khalifa. When Leona contacted the businessman, he initially denied having any recent contact with Laura, but later admitted to being in touch when presented with evidence of messages between the two. After a few Western outlets started reporting on the story in May 2015, the Dubai police issued vehement denials of Laura's death and said that her fatal fall had taken place in the Jumeirah Lake Towers, the apartment building where Laura lived. This is despite the fact that they showed Leona footage of Laura at the Burj Khalifa. Leona Sykes has kept Laura's memory alive through a website that she runs. She has also written a book about Laura and her death and the subsequent cover-up. Have you been to the Middle East? What did you think about the government and the media there? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear what you have to say. Please consider giving this video a like if you liked it. That really helps with the algorithm. Additionally, consider subscribing to the channel for more true crime. Till next time, signing off. This has been Christina.